So, Michael and John, how was the Power Agent Conference, and what can you tell us about it? Start with you.
Okay, it went great. I shared this in the kind of the breakout room that we were in yesterday with a bunch of folks, but I had a little apprehension going into it. For the first apprehension, of course, was the cost, and then the second was being in there with a competitor in my market. But then as we kind of went through the process, it actually made sense, because where John and I are in a market with maybe 100 other competitors, when we did the presentation, we were one of 2 instead of one of 100. So between offsetting the cost and having a unified message, it worked out real well.
What was the cost after you had all the vendors pay their fee?
I want to say, if I remember right, I think it cost us like maybe $1,500 a piece, maybe $2,000 total, and that was the beauty of it. Again, like I mentioned, the cost was a bit of a concern going into it, but when we approached, there was people that actually came up to us that wanted to be vendors at our event, which we thought was fantastic. So the second concern became to make sure that we had enough realtors there for it to make sense for these people to want to pay us to be at our event. And so John and I spent a lot of time and a lot of effort on making sure that we got as many realtors there as we possibly could.
Worked out really well.
Yeah, roughly 100.
Not too bad. Now, so I'm going to give you 3 different things that worked out really well. John and Michael did a great job of promoting it, and they did one thing that is really key. When we set up the form online for people to register, you got to do the follow-ups with the agents. You got to call them, say thanks for registering. See you there Thursday. There's going to be beer. You got to tell them that there's a reason for them to come. And essentially, what you're creating for your agents locally is a situation kind of like this. I mean, this room was. It was basically like these 2 rows, kind of, in this situation up here. And then you had the vendors all the way around, and I involve the vendors the same way that I do it here. And each vendor pays a fee, and that covered a lot of the cost. And then the vendors, they come up to me, because they think it's like, our event afterwards, right? So the vendors will come up to me and say, so when's the next time we're doing this? Can we sign up and pay us again? Have they already asked you?
In fact, we had some vendors that we heard from after the fact that said, hey, I want to make sure I'm at the next one. And I think John and I both agreed before we left that event that we're definitely doing another one.